Welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. Join me as we explore spirituality, self-help, and channeling spirits. Hello and welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium. Thank you for tuning in once more and joining us in this week's show as we're going to be looking into the topic of sitting in the silence. Also in this week's episode, we have the channeling from the world of spirit, which sees myself becoming a vessel for spirit to bring forward their communication and wisdoms through. And then later on in the show, we have this week's energy forecast reading, which will hopefully help you navigate your way through the course of this week ahead. So as I say, we're talking about sitting in the silence today. So we're going to take this on two levels, one being of a personal nature, and the second level using this in an paranormal investigation. So it's very important, I feel, to honor this topic in the level that we're doing it today. So first of all, in the silence, when you're sitting in the silence on a personal level, now we all live busy lives and we fill our lives up with so much clutter and debris to the point where we're a little bit nervous about sitting in the silence for what is going to come up and maybe the realizations that we're going to discover. Some of them we'll like, some of them we won't like. However, by actually grabbing the bull by the horns, so to speak, and setting some time aside so that you can readjust your focus by sitting in the silence will be absolutely beneficial for you, your family, your friends, and anybody that you happen to be connected with. Because when you sit in the silence, what you will first notice is your breathing. And your breathing is a brilliant catalyst in order to quieten your mind. So by focusing in on your breath work and focusing in on the rise and fall of your chest there, keeping that breathing even, low and slow and steady, what you'll begin to notice is your focus will then be removed from your mind, and you'll be aware of your mind still functioning, obviously. And with this being the case, it will allow you to become the observer of the thoughts that are passing through your mind. You've heard me talk about on previous episodes that we are all transmitters and receivers of information. And it's when you take this time aside to sit in the silence, again, detach from your thoughts and just become that observer, you begin to notice all of these random thoughts popping up to the surface. Now, many people will call this the monkey mind. So it's the playful mind, the mind that keeps on moving and carrying on, yet your consciousness has taken that step back, so you're in a position to observe it unfolding. And it's quite revealing when you allow this process to occur, because what you will notice is you'll get random thoughts popping in your mind that aren't really necessary, relevant, or will help you in any way, shape or form. They just clutter. It's just busyness. And so by observing them, you begin to decipher, well, do I need to have that thought? Why am I having that thought? I need to let that go. That's just nonsense. It's clutter. It's filling my mind up with and taking away potentiality and energy that I could be focusing and using on something else. And with doing this, it allows you to move into that healing vibration where you let some of these rogue thoughts go and you're okay with that. And you, by doing that, you move into another vibration, a more healing vibration, one that's cleansing for you, which allows you to refocus on the priorities within your mind, within your life. And it allows you, as we've said, to refocus your energy and your attention on something that serves you on a higher plane. So it's very important to sit in the silence and be okay about just observing and experiencing these things that I'm talking about. By doing this, it will also heighten your vibration. you'll be on a different timeline. So new opportunities potentially will enter your life when you change the way you look at things. As the great late Dr. Wayne Dyer used to say, when you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at change. And this is what is occurring when you are comfortable about sitting in the silence and you're doing this refocusing work. It allows your vibration to heighten, to change on a higher timeline there. And you'll have new perspectives. The way that you perceive things in the past will start to change. And you'll realize that that was where you was at that moment in time. However, because you've taken this time and this step back to recalibrate, refocus, and sit in the silence, you'll start and see things differently. And you'll be working from a more, I would say, present moment consciousness. And you'll notice that your life will change dramatically as doing that. So that's the first thing I'd like to speak about. On a personal self-development and self-help level, I would say it is very important that you do it when you feel that urge to do so, to sit in the silence and be comfortable. Because as I say, we're all sort of encouraged to keep ourselves busy. And when we're not busy, we're filling our head with nonsense such as TV shows, news bulletins, information that we're reading on the internet, also music as well. Some people can't bear to sit in the silence. They have to have music on in the background. So it kind of like just comforts them in some level. And I understand that. I completely get that. Being a musician, I love music. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. But sometimes you owe it to yourself to actually sit in the silence and see what's actually going on in there. What's going on in the mind? What are you holding on to? What thoughts have been, I would say, directing you in the subconscious mind without you realizing? You begin to find a lot of this information out when you begin to give that time back to yourself and sit into the silence. So moving on to a different level where you can use sitting in the silence to your advantage, I would say it's when you're on a paranormal investigation. And this doesn't matter whether you're, researching either spirits, ghosts, a location, or even if you're exploring the elemental kingdom, such as the Fae, such as gnomes and things of that nature. It is all relevant, I feel. And this technique, sitting in the silence, will help you actually to get more answers out of those situations and potentially more evidence when you get comfortable about sitting in the silence. Obviously, you've got to be patient because it doesn't happen straight away. I know we live in a society now where we want everything tomorrow, as soon as possible. But in actual fact, you've got to display that level of patience. And also being an observer is key to this. Being present is also key to this. Because when we're observing things and we're sat in the silence, what our mind can potentially do is to entertain us, to put thoughts in our mind, to create things in order to entertain us because we're not comfortable about being in the silence. So first of all, you've got to get comfortable with being in the silence. And when you're in that vibration, you're observing, then I would say that in this level, this is where you need to call out on a paranormal investigation. So you'll have a series of questions, or you'll just get a feeling that I need to ask this question in this environment. Call out to the room, to the vibration, the energy there, to a spirit being there that you feel is there. But when you're doing this, do it with respect. Introduce yourself. There's a lot of paranormal investigators out there, and I'm not having a go at anybody because everybody works differently. But there's a lot of people out there that just make high demands. It's all about them and the content. When, if someone was to do that to you in the physical realm, I want this now. More than likely, you're not going to help them out. You're not going to give them the information that they need. You're not going to help them in any way, are you? So show that level of respect And you do this by introducing yourself. So you introduce yourself to the environment, your name. Hi, my name is Glenn, for example. I'm here to connect with you. I mean you no harm. I come in the vibration of love, light, peace, truth, and harmony. And my purpose today is to find out some information and build up a rapport with you. Something of that nature. If anything, by coming from that perspective, it will intrigue the spirits or the energy in that environment to actually give you a little bit of information to see what it is, what you're after, and to get to know you. It's that curiosity that will help some interesting interactions occur. So showing that love and respect, and you've got to have obviously an intention. So first of all, before you even go to the paranormal investigation or the location there, be clear. What is your intention? Why are you going to that investigation, that environment? Some people just like to go there because it's an energy rush. It's an adrenaline rush. Some people are genuinely enthusiastic about the paranormal, and their, I would say, motivation is to collect some evidence, some information, some proof, if you will, that the world of the unseen, the paranormal, is very much around us, and here is the evidence. And so that could be your motivation, that could be your intention. But be clear about your intentions before you even go on a paranormal investigation. And then what I would say, like I've just given you that example, to actually state your intention to that environment, to the spiritual energies, the spirit beings there, obviously after introducing yourself. Because there's so many investigations that I've been on over the years, and I'm not having a go at anybody, where people are shouting out, "What's your name? How old are you?" If someone was to do that to you as you're walking down the street, what would be your first response? You'd walk by them and you'd ignore them, wouldn't you? You wouldn't want to engage into that because they're not connecting with you. They're not showing that level of respect. They haven't told you their agenda in any way. Why do you want this information? Whereas if you're clear on an investigation, this will start the ball rolling. And it's at this point where you need to, after you've set that intention and after you've introduced yourself, asked your question there, this is where you need to sit in the silence. And you need to be patient. And you need to observe. And what I mean by using the term observe is I'm not just talking about the sounds that you may hear in the environment. I'm talking about visuals, emotions that you begin to feel that you didn't experience earlier. Maybe smells, maybe tastes. You can taste a flavor. It may be the environment itself feels like it's closing in on you, a sense of pressure. You may notice that you're being touched in some way, shape, or form. And these observations are important because they will be answers to your question. And as I've said this before on many other episodes, Spirit will always use the path of least resistance. And as you know, we're all individuals, we're all different, and we operate differently. So Spirit are going to work with us differently on an individual basis. So for example, somebody might be really creative and a visionary. So that spirit or that energy will communicate with that person through visions, through symbolisms, through images, because it's very easy for spirits to bring that information through to that individual. Somebody else in the team may be empathic, very sensitive, picks up on emotions. Then as you've guessed it, that spirit in question will find the path of least resistance and work with that individual with their senses, with their emotions. So all of these subtle changes will be an answer or a response to the questions that you're asking to either the environment or the spirit beings in that environment. So by sitting in the silence, being patient, and observing these changes will be answers to those questions. And they will always give you a response. It is, I would say 9 times out of 10, it's normally ourselves that isn't paying attention and we're not observing all of our faculties, and we're not comfortable about sitting in the silence. And some people, after 2 minutes, may say, "Oh, this is pointless. They're not contacting us. They're not messaging us. They're not talking to us tonight." But they are. The Spirit is always interacting with us. We need to take that step back by sitting in the silence, by observing, and you'll be surprised at some of the interactions that you'll experience by being comfortable about sitting in the silence. Obviously, as a team there, you want to collate this information and share what you're picking up. So somebody, as I said earlier, may experience seeing symbolisms or visions. You need to share that with the group. Obviously, somebody may hear a sound. Did anybody else hear that sound? And put it to the group. With that being said, some people have a more sensitive hearing than others, for whatever reason. And that individual may be the only individual that heard that sound, or potentially it could be captured on an electronic recorder, but nobody else in the room heard that sound as it was occurring. Like I say, everybody is different. So, I would always take people seriously and then explore their experience. As this, like I say, can be a response to a question that you've asked. Once you have that response, then you can strip it apart and you can see what the spirit being or the communicator is trying to convey to you through either those emotions, the smells, the tastes, the pressure in the room. And a lot of people misinterpret this. For example, if you've gone on a paranormal investigation and you're asking a question, the next minute you're feeling like someone's pushed you on the shoulder. And your first reaction is, someone's just touched me. The fear response. But in actual fact, this spirit individual has just given you a response to your question. It's not doing it to frighten you. 9 times out of 10, they're not doing it to frighten you. They're doing it to let you know and also to respond using that method of the path of least resistance. So just be aware where it is they've either touched you or pushed you, and analyze that. If it's your knee, for example, which knee is it, the left or right? That could be a message to you. Left, they've left, the spirit beings left. Knee, they have a need for communication. I'm just trying to simplify it and break it down. So don't just take it as I've been touched on the knee or wherever. Delve a little bit deeper, because this will be a response to the question, and it's up to you to unravel that information so that you can ask another leading question and get additional clarity and information. But you've obviously got to observe all of your senses there, and the ultimate way of doing this is sitting in the silence. Ideally, you don't want any of these electronic devices where they're scanning the radio waves and you can hear all of that white noise hissing in the background from these, electronic devices. As great as they are, they can obviously be an ultimate distraction, and it can cut the atmosphere like a knife through butter, with that sort of vibration, with those sound waves. So I would, if you're going to sit in the silence, make sure it is silence. So everybody's electronic devices are turned off, their phones or whatever, or on silent or airplane mode, whatever the technique is nowadays. And then that way there'll be no interruptions and you'll be able to focus on the task at hand. As I've said, spirit are very subtle, and it's up to us to decipher their responses and the information that they're trying to communicate to us. As you're working in a team in a paranormal investigation, this becomes a lot easier, because you'll all be able to work it out and put those pieces of the puzzle together, and then that will also lead you to ask another question to get more information. So it's very important that you do this, I feel. What I would suggest, though, prior to actually asking a question to spirit, or if you're talking to the elemental kingdom or the fairies or the gnomes or whatever you're wanting to do, I would certainly recommend doing this technique before you even begin. And this is tuning into a new frequency. That's interesting, isn't it? And I can hear your brains thinking, well, what do you mean by that? How are we going to do that? Well, first of all, let's break it down. Frequency is energy, and that can transmute into sound, can't it? My English is appalling today. I do apologize. But anyway, frequency, can be interpreted into sound. And so the easiest way you can change your frequency and heighten your vibration to that of an environment or of spirit beings or of entities or whatever is through sound. And what I like to do is with my students, I get them to do a technique like this. And I'm going to give you a quick demonstration of this. So first of all, I would advise you to trust your intuition. Trust your intuition. Now, there's many different sound frequencies, isn't there? Different notes. And so trust whatever note comes to you. And what I advise people to do is to take a big deep breath in the lungs, fill the lungs up with air, and to hum a note or a frequency as long as possible. And I'm going to demonstrate this to you now. So what I'm going to do is take a big deep breath in. And then I'm going to hum. Okay, so you see my point there. Those of you that are listening, just recognize how you feel just hearing that tone, that frequency that I've just emitted there. That tone, that notation came very natural to me. I was inspired to do that. I wasn't thinking about what note am I going to do. It just naturally occurred. So I would instruct you when you're in that environment to do this technique and do whatever tone, whatever note comes natural to you at that moment in time. You don't have to copy everybody in the room because everybody will have their own pitch, their own notation. Do what feels right to you in that environment. And what you will find, if you sit in the silence just after you've done that, you'll notice that your sensitivity will begin to increase and you'll be able to sense things, see things, hear things, and attune to that environment a lot easier. So after you've done that, then obviously this is where I would recommend that you do some calling out and know your intentions. Have your questions ideally ready, and then you'll be heightened. You'll be ready to work with the energy in the environment, with spirit, with the entities there, with the elementals there, and you'll be more susceptible to receiving their responses because you've attuned your vibration to that of theirs. And at any one moment, when you're in an investigation, and we've all been there and we've felt that energy slump, where we're feeling we're not getting any responses and nothing's happening. We may be sitting in the silence and we've been there for quite some time and nothing is happening, even though we've done everything that I've said to you, introduced ourselves, set the intentions. Then I would say go back to this technique and just heighten your vibrations up again by doing this humming technique. And you can use it as many or as little as you wish to do so on an investigation, or if you're doing your own personal work, it will heighten your vibration. It will make you have a better day. You'll notice that when you do this technique, you feel a little bit different in yourself. You feel lighter, you feel more happier, you feel more sensitive, like we've previously said, and it will help you. So do this as many times as you wish, and you'll find that it will bring more responses your way, more results, and you'll start to observe more of the unseen world in your present moment consciousness. But I would say waiting patiently can achieve great results and potentially bring forward some fantastic evidence. Now, I know a lot of us watch these paranormal shows, myself included. I absolutely love them. I find them fascinating. And I'm sure many of you that are listening to this do as well. But what you've got to appreciate, a lot of these shows are made over either 24 or 48 hours. And within that time frame, they're having to sit in the silence. They're obviously setting that intention. They're asking questions. And what you see on the TV show is obviously key parts, key moments within that investigation over the 24 or 48 hours. And they're collating all of that information in order to create a TV show. And so when you see it as a show, it flows seamlessly, and it only seems like they've been sat there 2 minutes, when in actual fact they could have been there, an hour, 40 minutes, an hour, just in silence, asking questions and observing. And it's only when they go back, maybe checking their electronic devices or the recordings, that they'll notice that, well, in actual fact, whilst we was there, we wasn't getting any responses, but we were getting responses. It's just the fact that our senses were dulled and we wasn't attuned to it. So this technique I speak of, about heightening your vibration, attuning to the vibration of the atmosphere, will allow you to experience these responses in real time as it is happening. So just bear that in mind. I know we all watch these TV shows and we want it to happen as quick as the show unfolds, but in actual fact, in reality, it can take time. And having that level of patience will also get you these results and the evidence that you're wanting to collate in order to either present your findings to others, to bring forward that proof of the unseen world in our dimension. But what I've experienced personally by using this technique, sitting in the silence on a paranormal investigation, it's certainly helped on many levels. And like I say, you've got to make sure that all the electronic devices are turned off. You don't want anything that creates that hissing white noise, because that will distract you. That will make you feel agitated and uncomfortable. So you want, ideally, complete silence if you can. But I've experienced disembodied voices, whispering. I've even heard growling. Somebody growl under their breath like that. And I've heard garble. What I mean by that is lots of people talking over one another, like chattering, blah, 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 blah. And I've heard that in real time with my physical ears in that environment, again, by sitting in the silence. I've also heard, as I'm sure many of you that are listening, shuffling feet, people moving about, people walking, and you can hear whether it's a heavy footstep, whether it's light, someone running. If it's light footsteps, it could lead you to believe that it's a child, running about, maybe circling you in some way. I've also experienced coloured lights, flashing streams of light, again by sitting in the silence and observing. Different coloured lights, can potentially be a response. Gold I've seen, blue, purple coloured lights. I've also experienced things moving as well, objects moving when they're, unassisted by a human hand. I've also experienced moving figures. I would call them like silhouettes when I've been on investigations, and you can see a dark silhouette moving from one door in a corridor to the next. And it's only when you are sat in the silence or observing in the silence that all of your senses are heightened and you can experience these things. So I've seen that. Obviously, the ultimate one is to get some communication going is tapping, bangs, and I would say establishing a yes or no answer, one tap for yes, for example, 2 taps for no, or whatever feels right for you in that moment in time. But you can establish a form of communication with the energy in that environment by doing that. And obviously sitting in the silence, you'll need to do that in order to hear the responses and also feel, sense, see, because you will experience emotions as well as you're hearing those responses. You'll start to build up I would say, a profile of that spirit being that's communicating with you, because their emanations, their vibrations will be in that atmosphere. And so you'll start to pick up certain characteristics and mannerisms of that individual as their energy is in that environment. And so you can use all of these things to help you on your paranormal investigations and also in your own life to give yourself that sense of clarity and peace and to help you move in a direction of your choosing rather than just following suit to whatever is happening around you. By sitting in the silence is the gift that keeps on giving. So I hope this has given you something to consider and maybe some techniques to maybe utilize in your own personal life and also when you're on paranormal investigations. We're now going to move into the next segment of the show, which is this week's channeling from spirit. But before we do that, I'd just like to express with you some of the things that I've been experiencing over the past week. For me, it's been a lot of emotions coming up to the surface that I didn't even know was there. I've been having to be present. I've been having to allow myself to go through them. Some of these emotions have been very exhausting mentally and emotionally, physically as well, to the point where I have to sort of throw in the towel and say, okay, I've just got to go with this energy. I've got to relax. I've got to get as much rest as possible and rejuvenate that way. And that way it will allow me to process life and things that are happening a lot easier. And so I just wanted to throw that out. See if you've all been going through something of a similar nature. Anyway, sit back, relax, and take notes if you wish, and enjoy this week's channeling from the world of spirit.
Thank you for allowing us to step forward and communicate to you today. We'd like to talk to you about several things, but the most important thing is having faith, having hope. As a human species, this is an ingredient that you need to have in order to keep on going and move through the twists and turns that you are navigating your life through. Now, hope is a very individual but also invisible part of your experience. And what we mean by that is it's the fact that it's a feeling, it's a desire, it's a yearning, it's a magnetic energy, it's a pull, it's a safety mechanism, it's a feeling of feeling safe and also protected and also inspired. Hope and faith are wonderful ingredients that propel you forward, that enable you to feel comfortable, or shall we say in alignment with your vibration, knowing down to the fact that everything is in divine order and everything will be okay and you will be all right when you hold the vibration of hope in your present moment consciousness. Now, for many of you, this will sound very obvious. To some of you, this will sound like an impossibility, particularly if you've gone through quite a lot of unpleasant situations in your life where you've had to really dig deep in order to connect to that vibration of hope and faith. Maybe you've done it that many times that you're all out of it. You're all out of that energy that's required, that allowing, simply because you're attached to all of the previous situations that you've gone through that have drained that vibrational alignment with hope and faith out of you. We say that this is because this is an invitation for you to be present, not to focus on what has been, what was, but to be present about what is and vibrate into the vibration of is. And when you get into the vibration of is, that hope, that faith is restored. Because you'll have a direct emotional contact and feedback mechanism with instantaneous results. The results of is being present in your life is wonderful. You'll start to feel grateful for those moments. You'll feel that bliss entering your heart. And instead of worrying about what was and what may be, you'll sit in and bask in the energy of that beautiful connection of hope and desire and inspiration And when that returns into your life, anything is possible. When you hold that vibration strongly by being present, what you will observe is your reality will shift and change to that of a higher vibration, and you'll start to live and experience life differently, because you'll notice that the things that you require in your life will start to make their way to you. And this is simply because you're in alignment with that vibration of hope, that new feeling, and also because you've stopped that resistance to this new vibration entering your life. You see, most of you will go out throughout your life having some sort of resistance to the abundance that is rightfully yours. This could come into your life simply because it's an experience that you've had through many years of your incarnation, and you've had results showing you that that abundance isn't there. We say that a lot of this is down to subconscious beliefs and mental programming and the anguish that all of those things create. Now, for most of you, this is a tremendous amount of effort and work for you to work beyond and through those vibrations. And what we say with that is, despite you having those experiences, it's about sending out a new vibration, about trusting, in alignment, having faith. We understand that this sounds like we're going round in circles. Without one, you can't have the other. Without the other, you can't have the oneness. And we say that you can have it, and it's already here, it's already yours. And the fact that you need to just simply align with the present moment consciousness, as this will bring forward everything you need in order to exist and thrive in your life. So it's a lot to take in, we understand, and it can be a little bit of a riddle trying to unpick, because a lot of you live your life with some sort of reassurance by having a plan, by having an agenda, by having things in place, again to give you that sense of stability, that sense of confidence and comfortability within your life. And we say at some point in your life you will have to confront these issues, and you'll have to be all right about being okay in the present, not needing to work anything out, not needing to have a plan or something on your timeline waiting for you to move into. Instead, being present, being okay about the present, will align you with this abundance and the things that you need into your life. We can only give you these set of instructions to help you to connect, but as you know, inevitably, you have to do the work. You have to put that time in, and for some of you, it may feel like a lot of effort and a lot of work, because you'll be fighting or moving through some of those old belief systems that you've known your entire life. And this can be very taxing with your, shall we say, faith mechanism. You will, once you make that first foot forward and move forward in a new direction, something you've never done before, in order to obtain this abundance and stay in the vibration of hope and faith and strengthen those muscles, once you make that first move into this vibration by doing something remotely different and a little bit uncomfortable to you that you ever done before in your timeline, then this is where the universal energies will match and align with you and will catapult you into a new vibrational frequency that will be a new higher timeline version of yourself. Sometimes it can take a little while for this period of adjustment to kick in with you, and you'll be tested along the way with such things. Do you want this? Are you sure you want this? And are you really sure you want this? And the universe will give you various opportunities to shift and change your decision-making process to enable you to stand in faith and power into a new vibration. Now, at the moment in the timeline that most of you are experiencing, you will all have to go through this transitional phase where you let go of the old version of yourself. And for most of you, this can be quite an emotional part of your life, because it's something you've always known and you've always relied upon and had that faith in the experience of doing so. However, you will notice that you'll have to step forward and you will have to move, even if it makes you feel uncomfortable, in a new direction. And so what you will find is that the universe has your back. When you connect to that present moment consciousness and show level of gratitude and live in that vibration of is, everything is, it's already here, it's already occurring. It is, it's waiting for you. It's waiting for you to align. It's waiting for you to say yes and accept what is truly and rightfully yours on your timeline. As, believe it or not, you are all abundant. You are all vessels of abundance. And when you align with that abundance, the abundance shows up in your present moment consciousness. So we hope this has given you something to maybe consider and understand that this is what a lot of you are going through at this moment in time, on various levels, various tests and tweaks and changes. What we say is to have moments in your life where you are present. The longer you can be present with no agenda, no plans or anything of that nature, just be happy, be thankful where you are, then this will be the start of this process. And for those of you that are going through this period of time in your life right here, right now, we want to give you that supportive word of hope and faith. Your resilience, your trust in the universe and your higher self will be rewarded in unexpected ways, in levels of abundance that you've never ever experienced before in your timeline. These new vibrations, these new energies are here to support you, not to take anything away from you. They're here to serve you. So whatever you're going through at the moment, if you bear that concept in your mind, it's here to serve me. It's here to serve my highest good. That will get you through that situation, and you will start to unpick and see the blessings in that situation and why you had to go through it, and the lessons that you have learned to enable you to skip and move quickly into a new timeline of abundance, of purity, of worthiness. That is one of the key words we'd like to leave with you before we exit this transmission, is that you are worthy, you are deserving, you have everything that you need here. You are a magnetic creator, and when you allow yourself to be present, you will experience that in ways you can't begin to fathom or understand. We say it's not your job to understand and unpick and find the source and the recipe and the ingredients and the instructions for this experience. We say your job is just to be present, just to be grateful, and just to be ready and open to receive the abundance that is truly yours. We thank you for taking the time, for listening. What we would like to do for you now, to help you move and stay in this new vibrational alignment of faith and positivity and hope, is we'd like to channel through some energy frequency tones to enable you to hold on to those frequencies and be more acceptant of those frequencies in your is or now present moment consciousness. We thank you for listening, and we pass you over to the next communicator who's going to bring these frequencies in for you. Thank you.
What a fantastic communication there from the world of spirit. Very interesting to hear them talk about faith and having hope and how to hold on to that vibration. Even if we've gone through many twists and turns in life, being present is the key for holding hope and faith in our heart. And it was interesting to hear them use the word is for us to latch onto and be more present. And then we can allow hope and faith to be more prevalent in our lives. Well, we're going to be moving on to the next segment of the show now, which is this week's energy forecast reading, which will hopefully help you make your way through the twists and turns of this week. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hello, my name is Glenn Boddice and I'm a spiritual medium, and welcome to this week's energy forecast reading for the week commencing Monday, the 22nd of July, 2024. Now, those of you that watched me work before will know that I connect with my spirit guides and helpers and also consult the wisdom of the angel tarot card. So what I'm about to do is just shuffle the pack and allow a card to come out for this week's energy forecast reading. Okay, so here is your card for this week's forecast reading. I'm now going to link into the vibration of this. Okay, well, straight away I'm being told that this week is going to be a tester for you, and you're going to observe a lot of the old energies that you've been carrying around for such a long time. Now, I'm talking about the nuances that you haven't been aware of. Now, what this will entail is it will see you becoming slightly agitated, angry at certain points in your week this week, as some of these old patterns start to emerge that have been buried deep within you. Now, you're being encouraged not to be alarmed by this. In actual fact, it is a blessing in disguise, because these energies do need to be extracted from you so that you can live on your highest timeline there. So go with the flow, trust the process, and be calm and be collective through this week. I'm also being told that around the throat chakra as well, you'll notice some tightening in particular this week. This will be expressions that need to be communicated through you. And simply this is, again, connected to what we were saying earlier about all of these agitations there that have been simmering under the surface, and you've been keeping calm and carrying on. You do need to express them. Now, whether this is in the form of speaking them out aloud when you're on your own, or if you happen to be communicating with others. However, you do need to be releasing these energies. That is the top and bottom of this. Also, please watch out this week, as there's going to be some opportunities coming your way. Now, these opportunities are things that you've never even thought about or considered. But I'm being told that the divine has your greatest good at heart and is bringing and making these opportunities more clear to your attention. And instead of dismissing them, I'm being guided to tell you just explore them with playful curiosity. You do not have to commit to anything as yet, but just dip your toe in the water, so to speak, and you'll be pleasantly surprised, is what I'm being told. This is in connection with, I feel as though, financial abundance as well. Things that you've not considered before up until this point. I'm also experiencing a little bit of head fog, and I feel as though this week you'll be doing the same, because what is happening, again, you're doing a clearing of house. You're removing the way that you perceived your life unfolding, and instead you're letting that cloud go and allowing the universe to bring in what is meant for you. So just pay attention. There's a lot happening for you this week. Go with the flow, stop resisting the changes, and all will run smoothly for you. Don't necessarily see a lot of these changes as a negative situation. In actual fact, they're blessings in disguise. What I also feel for you this week is there's going to be a change of heart with yourself there. And this will see you, again, opening up that little bit more, letting people into your life, maybe that you haven't done before, and just opening up. And I feel as though this will feel like a weight lifted off your shoulders. I do sense there'll be some emotions coming to the surface with this, maybe tears of frustration or actual joy because of everything's coming out to the surface. So do watch out for that this week. So let's turn over the card and see what the card has to say for you. At the top of the card, it says 8 of water. So I'd like you to research the angel number of number 8, as I feel that that is very prominent for you and will give you some additional guidance. Also, I feel as though it's referring to coming towards the end of a chapter, and I feel as though this is talking towards the end of this month of July. There's something, you're almost there, and I feel as though there's some little bits in your life that you need to go through before you can assign that chapter off and move into a new timeline there. Water is talking about your emotions. We mentioned earlier about all of these emotions coming to the surface and these agitations coming to the surface that you've buried for such a long time. It's also telling you, like we previously said, to go with the flow. Stop resisting these changes. The universe has a greater plan for you. And also the number of 8, if we turn it on its side, is the universal number there, the universal flow. Give and take, give and take. That's what I'm being told to tell you there. So there will be a lot of that going on through the course of this week. At the bottom of this card, it reads, searching, empowerment, fulfillment. I feel as though this is you doing some soul searching within yourself. What you believe to be the truth of your timeline is starting to come to the surface. Actually, the divine has a greater purpose for you. So trust and allow yourself to go through these changes. Some of these changes won't be particularly nice for you, but however, they're going to be a catalyst to get you to the next level in your life and to make you see things differently that you didn't perceive before. Also, empowerment is you actually feeling more stronger after going through these things and trusting and knowing that you've got this, you can do it. And then fulfillment, this is you at the end of this week, toward this week, feeling rejuvenated, feeling I've got through it, I've done it, I've really done it, and you'll be so proud of yourself that you've managed to keep on going, but also do the inner work and the clearing work there as well. So taking a look at the artwork of the card, we've got green around the edge, and as you can see at the top, it's slightly diluted and it gets darker down one side. This is talking about there's going to be moments in this week where you're going to be not trusting your heart, not trusting the feelings, simply because your mind is going in and out. It's feeling confused about what you're feeling and the information that your mind is processing from all outside sources there. And there's just going to be this element of confusion. So what that is representing to you is not for you to dilute your truth. Keep faith, hold that wisdom from your heart and let it navigate you through the course of this week. Looking into the artwork of the card, we've got this divine feminine walking on the pathway. This is telling you to trust your sensitive side, trust your intuition, and allow your feelings and emotions to guide you and pull you forward on your new pathway. There's also an angelic being there in front, which indicates that you're going to be guided, you're going to be inspired throughout the course of this week. So no matter how bleak things may feel or seem to you, know that this is for your greatest good, and it's actually going to serve you to your highest advantage there. So don't look at a cup half full, a half empty. Look at a cup half full. Be more positive, because I do feel as though things are on the change for you for the better. As I say, this is helping you navigate your way on a new timeline, and as you can see on the pictorial picture on this card, it's showing you a uphill pathway. So this is telling you that you will be required to trust, you will be required to put some effort in, but do not give up. Do not give up. You are being encouraged by the angelic realm, by your spirit guides and helpers. And in fact, like we say, when you reach the top of that hill there, you're going to feel so rejuvenated, you're going to be feeling refreshed, so confident, so proud of yourself for getting through this week. There's a lot happening with your emotions and also internal healing this week. I'm being told balance as well. This is also talking about your physical balance with the ears there. Watch out for you feeling slightly off off kilter there, but it's also talking about the balance in your day-to-day life, about trusting, about giving more back to you. So I hope that aligns with you. Hope that resonates with you. Thank you for hearting, liking, commenting and sharing. If you've enjoyed this reading, you would like to help and support the work that I do, I have got a buy me a coffee link either above or below this video, which is a virtual tip jar, which all your donations will be gratefully received, and they'll be used in accordance with the spiritual work that I do to help people raise their vibration on their pathway. If you would like any of my services, head over to my website, www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com, or you can book in with me on Facebook, Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium. Join me every Monday, 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, with my radio show From Beyond with Glenn Boddice, talking about all things spiritual, paranormal and self-help on www.paulstalkradio.com. Have a fabulous week, everybody. Bye for now. Well, it sounds like we're all in for an interesting week ahead this week, where we have to dive in and actually experience what life has to offer, rather than us trying to control or manipulate the way that we see our lives unfolding. It sounds like we're going to have to release our grip and trust in the wisdom of the universe. So I hope that has maybe given you some inspiration for this week ahead. And also, I hope you've enjoyed this week's show and the content that have been channeled and brought through from Spirit. And it has given you some sort of inspiration, some sort of clarity, maybe alignment, something for you to think about that will actually help you in your life, helping it to thrive on a new timeline there. So that's always the intention from Spirit when they bring these topics through, and also the channelings through. It's all for the greatest good, to help the collective there. So I hope they've ticked all the boxes with that. Can I say, if you have any questions for the show, or you would like any of your paranormal or spiritual stories of self-help, and you're wanting to share that with the listeners of the show, please get in touch. It'd be wonderful to hear from you, and you can get in touch with me on www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com, or you can email me at glennboddice@live.co.uk. As ever, it would be fantastic to connect with you and get your feedback on the show. And again, if you have any questions there, we're wonderful to answer them to the best of my ability. Okay, so I wish you a wonderful week ahead this week. Whatever it is you're doing, keep your chin up, keep smiling, keep hope. As Spirit have been saying, have that faith and be present throughout the process. That is key. So you can join me the same place, same time, Monday, 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, with this very show, From Beyond with Glenn Boddice, talking about all things spiritual, paranormal and self-help on www.paulstalkradio.com. Have a fabulous week, everybody. Look forward to your company next week. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to From Beyond. For more information about what products and services Glenn provides, go to Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium